now the Admiral, Robbie J.
We got a new nickname.
We brought on more people to the company. So, Bobby like promoted me. He was like, you can't be a captain. You got to. So it's the Admiral, Robbie J, with the new Capitan.
What up? I'll take it. What up?
Ty Boogie, my co-host. And today we also have Stepmom Lauren with us as well. Wave
hi, guys. I'm here to ruin your day. I'm kidding. I hope I don't.
Oh,
perfect.
We are going to go over some fantasy do's and don'ts. We got a couple of games that we're going to play. Really quick, I just want to get into like how this whole stream came about. Of course, we had our boy Adam Rank on the show.
Right.
And then Stepmom Lauren was on Adam's show like last 2 weeks ago, two weeks ago. I was like, oh, this is great material. This is great content. Let's see if 6 degrees of separation works in our favor.
I had to give him a hard time about his Damian Williams take. That's kind of what I do with Adam Rank. I generally give him a hard time about stuff, but he's an okay dude. He'll do. I'm glad you finally have the real talent on your show, which is me.
Same.
I had to get him with his friends down in Duval too. Like, you gotta get him a little. Yeah, you gotta get him a little bit.
By the way, love your tight end article that you had recently just posted on the Fantasy Football. No worries, on the Fantasy Football's website. Let's go and get into an intro about you and about yourself. How this all came into fruition for you.
Yeah, so I've played fantasy football for years, and I have a Bachelor of Journalism from the University of Missouri. Go Tigers. And I don't know, there's something about like being frustrated and mad about fantasy football that you want to try to predict the future, which we all try to do, which is why we research our players, we research our team, our starts and sits, except me, who is incapable of just keeping something at a mild level. I'm like, no, I'm going to dive into research, write my own articles. Ended up sending it out to a friend of mine, Kyle Robert, who is with Fake Pigskin. He runs one of their podcasts called The Angle of Pursuit. And he's like, hey, can I put this on our website? I'm like, are you kidding? This was like a joke article. He's like, no, we love it. And I ended up writing for them last year for the entire regular season. And I was lucky enough to hear the 10-second little blurb on the Fantasy Footballers podcast, who I have been in love with. I love those guys. They are so funny.
Absolutely.
And they're so knowledgeable. I followed them for years and years. So when I heard this in the middle of their podcast, I like sped to my mother's house that they were hiring, and I broke many laws. Don't do this, children. Don't text and look at your phone and speed and drive. That's bad. But I got to my mom's house. She's like, hi, honey. I'm like, don't talk to me. I have to fill this application out. So yeah, I was so into it. I was so pumped. So I might have bribed Jason Moore with multiple churros from Disneyland. I'm kidding. I didn't do that. But yeah, so I ended up submitting my application, a link to my work for the Fake Pigskin, which was great that I had that portfolio ready to go. And out of thousands of applicants, it was myself and 5 other guys who were hired. So it's nice. I'm the only woman on their writing staff. And I currently hate all of them right now because we just drafted for our league and we all snipered each other's guys. Independent of value, this was a hot mess draft, but it was fun. We actually tweeted it out. So follow me at Stepmom Lauren. You can see what happened to the Fantasy Footballers writing staff in our draft. It was
it's going to be great.
It was brutal. But it was fun. It was fun.
We're definitely gonna check that one out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was bad because right in the comments, I'm like, who took this guy? And they're like, we took him just because you couldn't have him, Lauren. I'm like, at least try to be sly about it. No, it was straight up. You just took him because you wanted him.
You must give up on who you want to take just to take the guy in front of that person.
Exactly. We're just like snipering until you realize, like, I think one guy has like a couple players from the same team multiple times. It's pretty funny. He's like, shoot, I didn't realize I was doing this. But it happens, whatever.
Exactly. All is fair in love and fantasy football.
Nothing is fair in love and fantasy football.
It's something like that. It's more of like, don't take it to heart. This is fantasy football, but I'm going to get you where it hurts.
I actually see one of
and I won't apologize for it.
Oh, not at all. I'm letting it be known. I see in our live chat, Rumboyz Central hopped in. Rumboyz Central, you're going down in fantasy, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you guys aren't ready for it.
No, he's been trying to study my mocks, and I don't know if it's helping him.
Don't listen to his mocks.
He's
messing them up on purpose. I promise. They're not at all what he's going to do.
I'm messing him up just for you, JD. Only for you.
It's hard when you like do a fantasy, show or a podcast, and people know who you want to take or they read your work. So it's kind of hard. But luckily for me, in most of my leagues that I'm in, they think I'm actually like full of crap. So they don't read my stuff or like listen to any podcast that I'm on because I swear to God, they think I'm lying when I say that I'm actually a fantasy football writer. Like for real, I am. I am.
I do this.
So they don't know what I'm doing, which is great. Of course, then after week 1, they're like, oh yeah, then I'm setting all their lineups for them, and there may be subterfuge and sabotage going on, but don't tell them.
That's what I was gonna say. It's hard for us because we want to be so like knowledgeable and actually be correct on our predictions, but at the same time, like these guys we're against are like, hey, like, so should I put him or him in? And you're kind of like, you're playing me this week. You're playing me this week.
I've literally told guys, you have to go listen to another podcast. You gotta go listen to another show. You can't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like,
at least with both of us now, I can be like, you know what, you're playing me this week. Go ask Robbie. Like, I'm gonna tell you the wrong news, and I'm not gonna lie about it. So,
yeah, there you go.
So we got a couple games planned out. Do you like games?
I love games.
Awesome.
Who doesn't like games? They don't have souls if they don't like games.
Exactly. No, I know that you love games because the Final Fantasy twist to your Scott Fishbowl League.
Thank you.
Avatar.
Thank you very much. I actually get that question a lot. Am I a poser or do I actually like Final Fantasy VII? Yes, I actually like Final Fantasy VII. I'm a huge fan of the game. Yes.
Nice.
Got all the limit breaks.
Tifa
was my favorite. She's bare knuckles. She's a melee fighter. I absolutely love her. Yes, I play Final Fantasy. Come on now.
Even more reason to go and add Stepmom Lauren
Do it.
on Twitter. All social media, all platforms.
Any and everything. Why not?
We're not even gonna go into that joke.
Don't Google it. It's a real thing.
Yes, exactly.
But I do have a website.
I was about to say. I was like,
it's bad. Oddly enough, though, if you do Google fantasy Stepmom Lauren, it's all my stuff. But if you just Google Stepmom Lauren, do not do it on a work computer or in front of children. It's not acceptable for that.
No. We want you guys to do your jobs.
It's somebody else.
Oh, man.
I swear.
Oh,
but I do have my own website that is not that. It's all fantasy football.
Oh, that's good.
So that's a perfect segue into why the rum is always gone.
That was good.
So here on the Rumboyz Fantasy Sports Network, we play a game called Why is the Rum is Always Gone. Sometimes it's a game, sometimes it's a segment.
Sometimes it's just being pissed off.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of ranting. This is where you can kind of just air out your grievances about a player, about players, and just let it be known that why the rum is always gone.
Why they piss you off week to week. Maybe, injuries plague them and you're just not looking to draft them. This and that, why it's somebody you don't want on your team, or if they're on your team, you're slightly upset they're on your team. So.
Yep. So I'm actually going to let you go first.
Oh, I'm honored. El Capitan. I don't know if we're going to have to get that together.
Youth before beauty, my dear. Go ahead.
Thank you. So to start, again, like I said, injuries kind of is that situation, or maybe coaching changes. My first reason for this upcoming season, why the rum is gone, and someone I'm maybe avoiding, but again, you kind of look at him and you're like, he could be on my team, is Leonard Fournette. I'm going with him because of, again, injuries are a thing with him. Hamstring is the worst thing you could hurt as a running back. And we know how Leonard Fournette does that. I don't have to go into that a whole lot. The other major thing is the Jags just got a new offensive coordinator. John DeFilippo was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings. And, have you seen the Vikings offense? They do nothing but pass the ball. Like, already.
You are stealing my argument for later on in the show.
Well, see, you let me go first.
I let you go.
She gave me the floor too. Hey.
I wanted to kind of, because I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. It was. Eventually, we're gonna cross paths at some point.
It's fine. This is how we both agree with him on multiple levels. Not liking him this year, and I think you and I are the only humans in existence that feel this way. But continue.
Again, it's hard because after a certain amount of running backs, you can look at him and still be like, he might be worth at least putting on the bench. But again, Mike Zimmer has complained out loud to media and to coaches, to the Viking staff before, he doesn't run the ball enough. We have Cook, we had Murray. Not top tier running backs, but we had good running backs. and all he did was throw the ball.
Yeah.
So
he's never been on an offense or coached on an offense that has passed the ball less than 60% of the time. 60% of the time. We're talking the Browns, the Vikings, the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, there's a trend here. And I don't think that suddenly it's going to be like, oh, my bad, I learned from my mistakes, we're going to run the ball all the time. No. Really?
Right.
Leopard cannot change his non-running spots. Just saying.
And that's going to hurt him in fantasy football. Again, it's bottom line. It's going to hurt him.
Exactly. I mean, then you got to look at the situation last year. He's a hothead emotionally. He got in that fight last year. Got suspended. What was it? 4 games, something like that.
Doesn't pay speeding tickets. Come on, bro.
Exactly. You know, so stuff like that. That's another reason. So not only are you injury prone, but you're a hothead. 2 reasons that I'm gonna just keep my distance.
Let alone not having a coaching staff to hand you the ball. So
that's one of those ones you just purposely let fall to someone else and force them in the position, force their hand to go and take. Strategically speaking, you don't go and you make sure that someone has to bite the bullet on that one.
Reverse snipe.
Yeah, then you point and laugh.
Right.
That's what you have to deal with.
Right. And then after they draft him, you say it all.
Week 6, yeah. They're just like, you're bad, not mine.
Hey, you should watch my show. Pay attention next time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. I love that line. I love that line.
Yeah.
What do you have, Lauren?
Yeah, drop one of them. No, drop one of them.
All right. This might actually break people's hearts, including my own. I actually wrote a piece. It's my 3 potential bus candidates for the fantasy footballers. This guy was on it, and it hurts my soul to say it, but it's Philip Lindsay. I know. I'm afraid the last drop of rum was squeezed out at the end of 2018 when he got hurt. This sucks because I think he is such a darling. Everybody thinks he's a darling. That's what he was.
I love Philip Lindsay.
Darling. Philip Lindsay's amazing. He's awesome. He's a cool dude. He is so good at what he does. But the problem is his injury has set him back. So what happened was Royce Freeman was now taking all those first-team reps with Joe Flacco. And there's also a different coaching management tree up there right now that really wants to put their 3rd-round draft pick on the field a little bit more and may not have that loyalty towards Philip Lindsay that the previous coaching staff did. I know that's kind of a hot button that people don't like to say just because he was drafted really high, they have to play him. I get it. That's not always true. But this is a new coaching staff that wants to see what they have. They drafted him in the 3rd round for a reason, and he really didn't get a chance to exploit that last year. Plus, the coaching staff has already come out and said that they're going to make this a split backfield. Now, do I think that Philip Lindsay is going to suck? No. I think he will be productive, but he's not going to be the Philip Lindsay that we knew of last year. And he's also going way too high. I think it's in is it the 4th round?
4th round.
He's going around the 4th round. That's way too expensive for someone who's going to be almost going 50-50 with another pretty explosive running back as well. So I'm afraid my rum is going to be at the empty running on fumes point next year if I take Philip Lindsay on my team. And I won't be happy. I don't like it when my rum runs out. Especially Tito's. That sucks.
Yes.
I love that.
So I am going to I want to kind of pick this one apart. I do agree with the split backfield. They have came out publicly and stated that it's going to be a split backfield. I got to shout my homie DeAndre Warren who trains that backfield, a lot of them. You know, we live in Colorado Springs. All the Olympic athletes and all the football players are always out here. So, you know, we get to meet and read a lot of these guys.
Right.
I'm not impressed with Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman has not done anything to impress me. Philip Lindsay, under 200 carries. My guy, under 200 carries, still broke 1,000 rushing yards. And you mean to tell me that you're not going to put him out there as a predominant back?
He came out of nowhere, though. Like, it's not like people had film on him.
He has to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Health. And honestly, I'm going with the coaching staff is my thing. Like,
it's the first injury of his career.
Again, the first injury can be amazing. I'm just saying. She mentioned the coaching staff again. Now they're going. I mean, Vic obviously did a fantastic job for the Bears as defensive coordinator. Now goes to head coach. They're now, not that they haven't been defensive the last 5 years, but I don't see their offense putting up enough points for them to be ahead a lot of games. And I see them playing from behind. Like, they're going to give Lindsay the ball down by like 20 just because they're like,
35.
Dude, we got nothing else to do. You 30, know, like,
listen,
yeah,
35 is out the back.
There's an interesting point, though, if you want to marriage those two ideas that you guys have. So yes, I do think that Philip Lindsay is going to be on the field. I don't think he's going to be phased out. Like I said, I still think he's going to be good, just not where he's going at ADP. And I think people are going to be frustrated by how early they had to take him and what they expected from him if they didn't already know this news about, Royce Freeman and the coaching staff. Yeah. The other thing, too, is that because he is so good, they are going – well, they are. I know. I'm pretending like I know. I think they may try to limit his touches a little bit more to protect him because of his injury, and they don't want that to get re-aggravated again. Then they're going to have to rely only on Royce Freeman. They're going to want to use both of them. So by doing that, that does help protect Lindsay. It also gets Royce Freeman more involved. And again, that also limits Philip Lindsay's production. Now, what he can do with his opportunities is absolutely exponential.
Right. That's exactly what I was about to say. Right.
But I still think I'm going to be mad that I took him so early and missed out on somebody else. Like, I don't know. Whoever there is in front of me in my draft. If it's my draft with the fantasy footballers, I don't know. It'd probably be like Le'Veon Bell in the 4th round because we all took weirdos.
Yeah, I'm interested on him for sure. Again, I agree. I think he'll be a good back. I mean, he's Lindsay again. He's explosive. He's going to be fun to watch. He's going to probably give some excitement into that Broncos offense because I don't see any more excitement at the moment. So I just, again, my biggest problem with it is, again, the amount of injuries and how many times he really is going to get to touch the ball. Yeah. I think we can all agree that him touching it even 10 times a game gives him a chance to do something, but it's,
So really quick, for everyone listening, these are guys that we're going over guys, we're going to clear out the guys for you to avoid first, and then we're going to get into, some of those more important ones. Yeah. Just want to clear out first the ones that you don't want to pick. Cool. I'm going to go with, for first off my list, I'm going to combine my passion for my team with the fantasy twist. Oh, no. I had to take it to DC. Yeah, Go music and mumbo sauce, baby. Let's go. Jordan Reed. Why is the rum always gone, brother? You hurt my soul. You hurt my feelings. Now there is a lot of talk and a lot of chatter that you let him. You go ahead. You wait on your tight end if you don't get one of the Holy Trinity, which that be it Kelsey.
Now I know why you brought up how good my article was, is because you're gonna bash one of my guys to wait on.
I didn't even look at it like that. Like, I wrote the script before reading the article.
I see how you roll. Okay.
But Jordan Reed, you're such an important integral part of my team. So you hurt me there. But then in terms of fantasy, you can be such a boomer bust guy when you're on the field for a fantasy holder. It just hurts. It just hurts. When you're on the field, touchdown machine, pass catching machine. We need you to be healthy, and really, this is more of just a hit on the health, not anything about his stats, because he's a productive guy when he's on the field. Only thing I'm asking is stay healthy this year, and like I always say on our show, prove us wrong, please.
I'm saying all health. I agree. I'm saying all health with Jordan Reed. If he's healthy,
he played the most games last year, but he wasn't productive on it. But that is because of a crap offense too. And in that article that we brought up, I would think it was off camera. But one of the things I like about Jordan Reed is that you can stash him, especially if you have a deep bench, and you can get him really late to stream, especially against defenses who are weak against the tight end position, because there is nobody else in Washington who has 2 hands to catch the ball except Jordan Reed. They are going to desperately need him, especially if they push forward with Dwayne Haskins. He's going to be like the Baba security blanket for Dwayne to make that offense happen.
She's just hitting. Just bodying me right now. Like,
get bodied.
I can't disagree with it. I mean, why would Jordan Reed not be the first, second, and third read, especially for Haskins?
Exactly.
It's just
he's also dependent on his coverage. So there's a good point there.
It's gonna be, if this Haskins, it's gonna be McLaurin.
All right.
Which catch me covering that game play-by-play tonight, guys. We'll both be covering that game. Dilly. Yep.
I like it.
The pit of misery. That sounds about right.
Oh my goodness. What you got next on your list?
Yeah, I'll drop another one. So I'm going with, again, maybe this is a little bit of personal in here, because that's just.
I got one too. Please do one so that I don't feel so bad that I have a personal one.
Perfect. So
awesome.
This one,
okay.
I'm going Jordan Howard. I'm a Bears fan, so yeah, we watched Jordan Howard.
Sorry.
We watched Jordan Howard leave, and it was very painful to watch and to still experience. David Montgomery, please fix that for me. But I'm going Jordan Howard because of the amount of people in that backfield, the amount of people in that offense, and that's just a high-flying offense. Like, they're good at running the ball, but I mean, they got Sanders back there. They got Clemens back there. Like, Sproles is a guy that takes carries from people. Like, there's so much going on that offense that, again, same ideas, I think he'll be productive, just not what you want out of him and not anything where you're like, dude, I got Jordan Howard. I got Jordan Howard.
Miles Sanders, bro. We interview Miles Sanders at the NFLPA rookie premiere. When you look that kid in his eyes, he has the eye of the tiger.
He's gonna do work. And again, not only him, but there's so many receivers there. I mean, Zach Ertz included, and they're basically a receiver at this point. They're gonna have to spread the ball around, move the ball around, and I think really the only time you see Howard have major games is when the Eagles are killing somebody and they have nothing to do but hand the ball off between the committee of running backs. So.
I do agree. If I can take the floor next, I'll skip over my second one and go to my third. For the rum is always gone. It's every single one of the Eagles running backs. I couldn't decide which one. Yeah. All of them. Avoid all of them.
Yeah,
so,
like that.
And it's for the same reason. I mean, I'm sorry, Adam Rank. He is a Bears diehard fan for life. I get it. He does still have some faith in Jordan Howard. I can see why. Goal line work, I could possibly see is there, but I could possibly see it's not. Then the one thing I need when I draft for my fantasy teams and when I want to give anybody any kind of advice is where's the volume? Where is there going to be predictable opportunity and volume for one guy to take the lead and to have the rock to score the points? And the problem was with Doug Peterson, it's amazing for real football, but for fake football, not so much, because we don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Corey Clement, Wendell Smallwood, Miles Sanders, Jordan? There's so many people. Plus, you've got, like you said, Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, and now we have the addition of Deshaun Jackson, that downfield threat that's going to open up the middle of the field for even more players like Dallas Goedert, I think, is going to have a really good year and possibly be competing with Zach Ertz for a little bit of volume. So for real football, the Eagles look amazing. For fantasy football, I'm a little scared.
It's like,
respect those running backs. I want nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with their running back. I will cheer for them and be like, yes, go. That's awesome. But I not putting them on my team. I don't want that headache. I don't want to go bald and have even more of a receding hairline than I already do. Losing my shit because my running back out of the 3 million that are on the team did not get the touchdown. And it's going to be some guy we never heard of that they picked up, on the sideline.
Exactly.
Before because they needed another running back. I don't know. That could happen. Who knows? Look what the Patriots do. I don't want that headache.
Correct.
What I would say, one of my best pieces of advice would be in regards to the Philadelphia Eagles offense. You are going to want to with that team, look at them in weekly fantasy. Look at the game trends. Look at who Doug Peterson is giving them the majority of the touches to, so on and so forth. That's a daily fantasy, a weekly type of thing, not a redraft type of situation. No way, no how.
No, I'm avoiding them at most costs. Again, like Jeffrey's a big name. One of those guys you aren't avoiding if he falls to you, but it's hard to commit. It's hard to commit to any of these guys officially.
And Deshaun Jackson. Those are the only two on the Eagles that I'm like, let's go. Other than that, I'm like,
Yeah, and even Carson Wentz, I worry because what if I only get 7 games out of him? What if he hurts his back again?
Carson's going to get it this year. They brought nothing.
It will be in the vacuum of injury. So it's assuming that he doesn't get injured, which unfortunately has not been his trend. Sorry, my hair is 4 feet long, so it always gets into my face. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's really long. I feel like Rapunzel. Just gotta catch myself a man. My husband's I gotta lasso my husband all the way from Orlando with my hair. It's terrible.
There you go.
I sit on it, so if I'm constantly moving my head, sorry about that. I can't help it. It's wrapping around and stuck in my armpit and stuff. It's really uncomfortable.
It's all good. See, this is what I like about I just go to the barbershop.
This struggle is real. Okay, you put your hat back on. I feel bad about myself.
So you both went. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller,
That's a good one.
You get 2 or 3 big games out of him, and it's like, yes, I'm so happy that this was the week that you chose to come through for me. Or either it's the case of you choose to come through and I bench you.
Right.
So
you start him the next week, and then you're pissed off because he put up 30 yards.
You know my dilemma.
Right.
We vented about this. We drank beers, and I'm just sitting there like,
I've made the mistake of taking him before. I get it. So I made that mistake.
He'll get you, 900 yards a season, and not maybe. He had 977 last year.
I mean, it was
close.
1,000.
Yeah, it was just shy of 1,000. But now you have Duke Johnson in that backfield, and Duke Johnson
600 yards this season.
Let me put it like this with Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson wanted to leave the Browns so that he could go to a team and go to an organization that he could get utilized.
He will.
Yeah, you don't pick up a player that wants to get utilized and has that passion to be utilized and not utilize them. So the Texans are going to do that. I'm not going to use the word utilize in this piece no more. Thanks.
And the quick thing about Duke is that Deshaun Watson has never had a solid pass-catching running back before.
Yes.
So a lot of people will point to the fact that he doesn't target running backs. Well, because one of them was Lamar Miller. The other one was Alfred Blue. I mean, come on. Can you fault the guy? But with someone like Duke Johnson, he has the ability, he has the talent, and he has that passion, like you were saying, to make a difference because he's been – lost in this sea of other players and really hasn't had a chance to shine. I do like Duke Johnson in PPR formats significantly. So, go ahead.
You can get him really low, low.
Yeah, pretty dirt cheap still. Yeah.
And honestly, I think that backfield could go from a 50-50 to a 70-30 in a couple of weeks, and Lamar could totally just be swept under the rug.
Hold on, let me check the crystal ball. Week four.
Week four. Week four.
The touches start to really.
I wouldn't even take that bet. I'll agree with you.
Dang.
I see it
early.
Ooh. Oh yeah. Ooh. Well, I don't like Lamar Miller, bro.
Again, I don't care if the dude is waiting for me and has my name on it in the fantasy thing. I'm going right past him. I'm gonna take a kicker.
I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe. I think it was not 2-on-1 podcast. It was one of the other podcasts in the Podcast Versus Listeners League that we're in. One of them took Lamar Miller, and I was like, "You did not get enough of my Lamar Miller rants last year." Like,
dude.
Willie goes back and looks at my rants like, "I'm sorry, told you, I told you."
Yeah, that is what it is. So.
What's your next one, bro?
All right. My last reason the rum is gone. This one's pretty obvious. I feel like, again, another one of those just kind of injury-prone type things. But I'm going Greg Olsen. Dude can't stay on the field. I mean, his injuries are also his feet mostly. And, I mean.
Those are necessary to move. Ask Antonio Brown. He'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, I'm sure right now he will too. So Greg Olsen, again, it's not a whole big conversation about it. I just don't know how healthy he's going to stay. Cam's been looking good. They said he's been better. You don't really know how that shoulder is until you start actually throwing
and footballs. The throwing motion.
You don't really know how that is until you start throwing, in real situations, I guess, in my opinion. So I also see that being a very tough division. And I mean, Cam is the kind of guy that they start losing games and it's not fun, exciting. He's not handing footballs out. I mean, he gets a little butt hurt and upset, and I can only imagine how the Panthers offense is going to run after, like the second half of the year. So,
and Steve Smith told us that DJ Moore's not a real receiver.
He called him out right on camera. that happened.
That was great. That was great.
So again, Greg Olsen, just a guy I'm really not taking unless there is not another tight end within anywhere near me. So I'm avoiding him just because, again, I don't think he plays all year or at least has a couple games in between where his foot's bothering him. This and that makes it cut the wrong way. So
because I've been here for so long, okay.
Oh no,
this is so crazy to not like do a fantasy show with you and you not refer to Greg Olsen as third leg Greg. Like that's how we know that you're done. That's how we know that you're
He's
done.
Gone. It's over, dude. Third leg Greg.
See, Greg Olsen back on the field is really good for real football. Again, one of those real football as opposed to fantasy football situations. He makes players like DJ Moore, especially Curtis Samuel, love him. He makes those guys better, especially Christian McCaffrey. I think because Greg Olsen is there, that's going to help Christian McCaffrey. For Greg Olsen himself, it's like, no. It's like Jason Witten. No. Not doing it.
And I think McCaffrey is like 70% of their offense this year. So
yeah.
I don't care how it is, but they're going to get the ball to him. So
what do you got?
Oh, is it me
That was
next?
a pretty bad one. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right. Okay, so mine's a personal one too, but like way more personal than yours was. Like I'm diving deep. I despise Joe Mixon. I despise him. So I am going to avoid him in any way, shape, or form. If y'all want to take him and handle the Swiss cheese offensive line that are the Bengals, the crap offense that they have now that AJ Green is gone and Tyler Boyd will have double coverage and Tyler Eifert will get hurt again and Tyler Boyd is still dealing with his injury, then by all means, go ahead and take Joe Mixon on a stacked box where he will do nothing and then he'll complain about it and not even help up an offensive lineman who allowed him to get 5 yards on the field. No, he'll just stand up like he's hot S, like he always thinks he is. I just don't like him as a person, and I think he's an even worse running back, and karma is coming back to hurt him. Stay away from him. I don't like him. That's it.
I could
harness my teeth.
I love that.
I felt that. I've been saying that the whole time too. People are buying him way.
But when we make this take, people are like, no, like you're wrong, like you're terrible people.
Dude, Andy Dalton's gonna throw an interception in the game, and they're just gonna hand the ball off. And she said there's gonna be 8 in the box. It's just
it's stupid. Tragic. Stay away from it. Stay away from all of it. It's garbage.
If you want 40 yards a game, Joe Mixon.
I'm putting it like this: a fantasy footballer's writer. If you don't believe the Rumboyz, a fantasy footballer's writer.
That's it.
Just told you. I'm leaving it at that.
Do you remember my jaw dropping when we saw the first list and I was like, why is Joe Mixon in the top 15? I was like, who made this?
Someone was definitely drunk.
Some people think that he's going to be incredibly utilized because their offense is such garbage. But I can see the argument for it both ways. I won't lie. I can. I despise him. So I'm not picking him up any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to deal with the headache of being all butthurt that he didn't score any points because that's the only reason why I would have drafted him in the first place, not because I think he's cool, because he's not. So it goes 50-50 for a lot of people. For me, it's absolutely not. I would stay away from the Bengals. I understand this whole like Sean McVay's like third cousin twice removed, Zach Taylor. You know, that whole thing is like a thing now. So therefore the Cincinnati Bengals must be good because they know Sean McVay. Clearly. So that's supposed to be the next, LA Rams. By the way, don't like you Rams either. St. Louis girl over here. How half no theory like so yeah, what up? Your last Lombardi trophy was in my city, not your city now. But you're still really good. Sadly enough, you're good, and I don't like it. Whatever. Go back to your second wife and have fun in LA. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. She got fake boobs. It's cool. I don't judge. But yeah, I just don't like Joe Mixon. I don't like his offense. I don't like the offensive line. I also don't like him as a person. So no bueno. And you can disagree with me all you want. I have no problem with that whatsoever. You want to take him, go for it. I'm just not. I'm staying away from it.
I'm with it. I'm totally with it. I got nothing against what you just said.
No, I'm completely with it. I'm completely with it. So to close out why the rum is always gone, pay the man. Melvin Gordon. The Chargers are not infamous for backing up the Brinks truck for absolutely positively nobody. I know you're upset because don't you have him?
Yeah.
Don't you have him in SFB?
I do.
That's the worst situation that you could have, Melvin Gordon.
Oh, the news came out a day after I drafted him. I was like, I can get Melvin Gordon at the 106? Sure. Not.
I saw that. I saw it. It was the greatest thing ever. I was like, and I just sat back silent. And I was like, dude. Oh gosh.
That's almost the problem with I know that you have dynasties or drafts that you want to do so early because you're just so ready for fantasy football and want to get into it. But then preseason comes or something like that comes and it just is perfect. I have Gordon and Zeke. Yay.
This is advice to all the commissioners out there. Not so much necessarily the players, but more so the commissioners. Try your best to hold your league third week of preseason or towards the end of preseason. Try and do your draft around then. But wait till all the stuff clears out.
It is funny.
I've already drafted 3 years and I've got another one Saturday.
It is funny to watch someone's reaction when you have a really early fantasy draft and they pick someone like that and it's not you. That's pretty great.
Like what just happened here?
Or they picked Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why'd you do that?
My bad.
Why'd you bring up
that? Too soon.
Yeah. Hey, I have Le'Veon. I have Le'Veon in my SFB satellite, and just once again, prove me wrong, Le'Veon. Please prove me wrong.
I think he'll be okay. He'll do pretty well this year, I think.
Yeah, I'm not too worried. I'm all right.
Positive vibes. Let's put it out in the atmosphere.
Exactly. It's not like, he was only gone from football for a whole year and could possibly risk injury stepping on a field, but it's all good.
Ouch. Just throw a shot in at the end.
Yeah, right. That deserved a shot right there. But we're gonna be getting ready during play-by-play. Stay aboard or walk the plane. So in this segment, we're gonna pretty much break down pretty much a must-have player and someone that you're on the fence about, but maybe you can get away with. Okay. We're gonna have Lauren start this segment off.
Okay. My must-have. Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm not going Hopkins. I'm not going Devontae Adams. I'm going Juju. The reason I'm going Juju Smith-Schuster here is because the Steelers' offense is kind of magical. And now that Antonio Brown is gone, there's obviously those vacated targets that Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be stepping into a particular role. I don't think that he's going to be taking a lot of those vacated targets that Antonio Brown is leaving behind. I didn't want to say vacated twice, so I thought I'd throw in another phrase in there.
There you go.
Because Juju Smith-Schuster actually doesn't do a very good job of creating separation downfield like he can in the slot where he lives, and he's most fantasy productive there. So I don't know if they're really going to move him outside to take up that kind of Antonio Brown-ish type of role. But I do think that he's going to feast exactly where he's at. And last year, wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 had a difference of targets to wide receivers by 24.9 and 24.6. That was it. That separated wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. So the question now is going to be, who's going to be wide receiver 2? Let's say in some weird alternate Twilight world, like Dante Moncrief or James Washington ends up becoming the next Antonio Brown. Obviously, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's just say, for sake of argument, you're still leaving Juju Smith-Schuster, who is still Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's going to feast in his role in the slot. No matter what happens, barring injury, he is going to have a huge role in this offense. And with James Conner there, with Jalen Samuels filling in a little bit of those Jesse James vacated targets, because don't forget, Jalen Samuels is also a tight end. That helps Vance McDonald out, and that just leaves Juju Smith-Schuster wide open for so many different roles, and I absolutely love him. He is my must-have. I love him, and all the things that he can do. And then, are you guys going to do your must-haves, or do I do my walk the plank?
Do both if you want. Do both.
Yeah, do both. Yeah, we can do both.
Here is where this is the first time I'm actually bringing this up in a sense that I would think about it. But this player we've already talked about, and you took my argument from before, which I am not forgiving you for. I'm kidding. It's not that big of a deal. It's Leonard Fournette. Now, you brought up the point that I have been hammering home since I wrote my bust article months ago about this new Jags offense and with Ryan DiFilippo. And like I mentioned, they don't run the ball. That's why he was fired from Minnesota. That's how it works out. And also don't forget, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the quarterback's coach was Ryan DiFilippo. And guess who is their quarterback now for Jacksonville? It's Nick Foles. Same guy. He knows how Nick Foles works. He does not throw deep. He throws between, well, he does, just not all the time. And when he does, it's quite nice. But right between the line of scrimmage and the 20-yard mark is where he lives. So you've got D.D. Westbrook, who should feast. You've got Keelan Cole, who should feast. You've got Marquise Lee coming back. You have Chris Conley there. There are so many wide receivers that fill that interior role that give Nick Foles time to dump the ball off, that I am afraid that they're not going to run the ball with Leonard Fournette. The only thing that would ever save him is in a PPR or half PPR setting where he's incorporated in the passing game, because Leonard Fournette isn't terrible at pass catching. So if he can be incorporated in there and not just relied upon as pass protection, because they're not going to run the ball that much. Yep. They might for the first 4 weeks. But DiFilippo's like, look at me, I've changed. And then it's going to be right back to what it was before. He's like, running back? What running back? I thought he was the water boy. That's what is going to end up happening. And that's what I'm afraid of. So I could be talked into it if the price was right. I've seen him fall in drafts quite a bit. And if I already have my running back starters that I know I can plug and play and not have to worry about it, I would think about taking a shot on him to stash him. If he does really well in the first 4 weeks or something, trade him away for extreme value. Yes. I wouldn't mind doing that. And that's what I would kind of utilize him as, or against defenses that are poor against pass catching running backs, because then they may, like Houston is terrible at it, but they may end up utilizing Leonard Fournette in that way. That's the only way I could be convinced to have Leonard Fournette on my team. I still am not sold on it. I know a lot of people think he's going to have this huge bounce back year. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all.
See, and even with the whole possibility of maybe trading him, even if he does do good in the first 4 weeks, I feel like, that just with that was a take that was made, last year, and that was a point that I was making, last year.
Yeah.
So where I feel like, that like we've done that so much and put that out there so much to where the audience now knows in their leagues to even pass if that opportunity presents itself. So I think it's an all around just walk the plank with Leonard Fournette. Like, just
see, that's what I do. It's frustrating.
Because then you have to deal with trying to trade him away if you have him. And and that's just now too much thinking. And now you're trying to weasel out of a situation.
You're putting a lot more into somebody you drafted to probably not touch your team.
100%.
I already mentioned him earlier. I mean, she hit it on the head again. So I'm not taking him out. I'm not.
So. I am going to go next.
What?
So my first one for stay aboard, I had this guy last year, and I absolutely loved it. I loved it. Michael Thomas.
Okay.
The man just got paid, so he's going to go out there and ball out. As long as you have Drew Brees as your quarterback, like
everything is fine.
Yeah, everything is fine. I don't see any of the other receivers really cutting into such as, if anything, Alvin Kamara in the backfield. Even with the addition of Jared Cook, yes, maybe they throw to the tight end a little bit more to the offset defenses, because that's just traditionally not what the Saints do.
I feel like they could help Michael Thomas almost to a point.
Exactly. So I gotta go with Michael Thomas. Just getting that
Love
money.
it.
Yeah, you're gonna go out there and show why you deserved it and why you got paid.
I especially love it because I have Michael Thomas on my Scott Fishbowl team. It is the only saving grace for having Melvin Gordon as well. I just ignore that I have Melvin Gordon. I just look at how beautiful Michael Thomas is sitting on my squad. It makes me very happy.
I'll make up for it.
That's tough.
I like that pick.
Now, the one that I'm saying walk the plank on.
Yeah.
You brought up my old memories that I was going to bring up myself anyways, but you just hurt me sooner.
Sorry.
I'm not into holdouts.
Fantasy football, dude.
All is fair. Well, it's not fair, but still. I'm bringing up another holdout this time. I know in the last segment I brought up Melvin Gordon. Then you inflicted pain with the Le'Veon Bell take from last year. Now I'm bringing Zeke again. Try and see if maybe, and I'm actually going to kind of steal shamelessly from Lauren here, from what she mentioned on Adam's show 2 weeks ago. Try and go with the safer pick of a David Johnson, and maybe make that fifth pick take Zeke. David Johnson's going to give you production. I like him with Kyler Murray. I like him in the Cliff Kingsbury type of style of offense.
Right.
All those pieces around them at receiver. Andy Isabella, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk. The list goes on in terms of the depth at wide receiver for Arizona. I can go on and on and on.
Right.
I like how you agree with me about my David Johnson. He is my boo.
Yeah.
Continue.
I ain't gonna say you, but no, David Johnson. I'm all in on the David Johnson train. I think he is back to kind of almost a 2015-esque performance and himself, and that's kind of where I'm at. Just avoid holdouts at any and all costs. Obviously, if Zeke signs his contract, when has Jerry not gotten a deal done? Jerry gets deals done.
When your quarterback asks for another $10 million, that should be the first time it ends. But we're not talking about that.
He was drunk when he did that. I don't think he meant that.
Too much yogurt.
Sorry. But no, so with that, you gotta avoid the holdouts, you gotta avoid the Gordons, you gotta avoid the Zekes, and any team that has a very valuable piece with the person that's on a holdout, like anything, deal with it. No,
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I don't know. Especially now that if you don't look as stupid if you let Zeke fall a little bit because about the holdout, but I mean. That could be a diamond in the rough, though, I'm going to say. If somebody lets him drop like a rock and you pick him up later and he does sign, you're okay. but
I don't think that they.
I don't know.
So Gordon and Zeke are the two questions that I get all the time from fantasy football players is what do I do? Do I draft them? Do I keep them? It is so difficult. So what I usually tell them is if you're coming up into your drafts, I am less worried about Zeke than I am about Melvin Gordon. Situation worries me. So if you are willing to take the risk of Zeke and what he potentially can do to your team, both for and against your team, that's going to be a personal decision to make. I would not. That's just my own personal feeling with it, because if I'm going to be drafting early enough that I would have the opportunity to take Zeke, then there are going to be other options available for me to take, such as David Johnson, such as Alvin Kamara, that I would rather have and not deal with that holdout headache, whether or not he's going to show up or not.
And one of the things that I want to add right before, we have you close out this segment, and a lot of the mocks I've been doing, it validates exactly what you've been saying. Zeke is highly more favored, to take the risk on than in Melvin Gordon's situation. Like I said, the Chargers are not going to back up the Breach truck for him. Also, with Zeke and just overall fantasy football, part of the reason why I'm saying to walk the plank on this situation because of the holdout, do you really want to start the season with your first round pick, or maybe he falls to second in like some weird scenario because everyone's just scared? That's not going to happen. But let's just say,
right.
But do you really want to risk your first round pick not being on the field for you and you possibly losing those first four games? A holdout in a contract situation like this can possibly take up to 4 weeks. I foresee it taking possibly that long so that Dallas can realize we can't win without Zeke. And then they just throw whatever money to him.
It's really tough. I wouldn't want to take that risk.
Yeah, I'm not trying to risk going 0-4 because my best running back is not on the field. Just like Zeke can change a real life football team with him in terms of W's and L's, he can change your fantasy team in terms of W's and L's.
I mean, I'll just say, I know that you have a whole team, you got multiple rounds of people you like, but tell me you're looking at your fantasy team every week of your lineup and looking at your first pick. Who is Michael Thomas playing? Who is Kamara playing? Who is my first guy playing? Will he put up big numbers? And it's hard to look at Zeke on the bench or Gordon on the bench and be like, maybe he'll come back next week. It's just that's not anything you want to be doing. And that's a headache in fantasy football. So
definitely. I got enough drama in real life. I don't need it in fantasy football anymore than it already represents itself. So if I can avoid that, I don't need any more Pepto-Bismol to get through the weekend of fantasy football. That's one less thing to give me heartburn.
I love it.
All righty, Ty, what's your 2, man?
All right, so I see we're all on a trend of wide receivers here. I know Lauren said she wasn't going with a D-Hop or anybody like that, but I'm going with them. DeAndre Hopkins is my dude to go with. Well, I'm totally with your Juju take. That was absolutely great. But I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins. I took him last year expecting good things, not knowing him and Watson would just click, it was going to be a thing. So he's definitely got the best hands in the league, hands down. He does not drop anything. If it's anywhere near.
Interesting note. His hands are so big that they actually, so when he wears his gloves, he has to cut them open in between his fingers.
That's crazy.
Because they don't fit. Like Nike. This is DeAndre Hopkins. Make this happen. Get him a pair of gloves, guys.
They got Mariota special glove. They can do that for DeAndre Hopkins.
His hands are so ginormous. Mine look that big right now because they're right in front of the screen. These are Hopkins' hands.
Tries to shake your hand. It's just baby hand, full hand.
I'm glad that's not a dude that we did not meet. I just one time yes.
I would have probably shed a tear if I met DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh my God.
But so again, not a whole lot to say. Dude doesn't miss a lot of games. I think a lot of his production is on Watson. Not that he hasn't performed with other quarterbacks. He has not really had a good quarterback for the first half of his career and still been DeAndre Hopkins. Now he gets someone like Watson who can roll out of the pocket, who can get it downfield, at least put it in the area for Hopkins, and that's his specialty. So, I mean, I would be surprised if both of them play all season, Watson mainly. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get 1,500 yards and double-digit touchdowns. So
agreed.
I feel like if I'm drafting in the first round, if all the top running backs are gone, I'm not even hating myself for taking a wide receiver, especially Hopkins in the first round. So
you're fine.
Hopkins is my absolute, like, stick with it. I don't care what the deal is. I would start the dude in a bye week. Like, he's that good. He's gonna be that good. He's gonna be that good.
He'll give me points somehow.
He's gonna give me points. It's just like it's gonna be a thing. So basically I think he's the guy.
What you got now?
I can send over some like chocolate sauce if you want to just drizzle all over that DeAndre Hopkins take. That was pretty saucy. I like it.
I might. If I had Hershey's, I would have shot it all over the camera. Accurate. Bring it.
Hey, do your next one.
Oh, the next one's even better. The dude I'm avoiding and or on the fence about is Derrick Henry.
Word.
I'm still not sold on the dude. I mean,
No.
the last 4 games, I had to write it down because I was still mind blown, and I continue looking at it thinking this is a joke. The last 4 games of last year, almost 600 yards. That's ridiculous.
It's not a joke, man. That was my real life.
It's not a joke. That's what I'm saying. But like, I can't fathom that he had 600 yards in that, and then had like not even 60 yards in the first 13 weeks of the season. I don't know what Derrick Henry shows up this year. I don't see a lot put into the Titans offense that is like, damn, like they could be the team this year. We still don't know who the quarterback's even going to be. Like Mariota, is he healthy? Is he playing? Is he not? What's going on? So I'm not sold on Derrick Henry.
No, man.
I'm still laughing at your chocolate sauce.
Hey, DeAndre Hopkins, dude. Every time he makes a pass this year, I'm gonna be like, yep, chocolate sauce.
I'm going to tweet that at you guys every time he makes a good play. I'm crying right now, like crying.
It's great because he was our first round pick in SF.
Chocolate sauce. My team name is chocolate sauce.
Can you not say that next to me, bro? Like,
oh my God! You tell me one of your fantasy team names has to be like Hershey something. That would be hilarious. I can't.
Absolutely.
Oh my God! But I do agree with you with Derrick Henry. I'm sorry. I was just dying. I was laughing so hard and trying not to that my eyeballs almost exploded out of my head. I had to let it out.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Oh God.
So I'm saying,
yeah, Derrick Henry.
D-Hop.
Shut up.
For the next segment here on the Rumboyz Fantasy Sports Network, we are going to play something completely new. This is a new game. And it's called X Marks the Spot. And this is going to be your sleeper picks. You're
never going to forget that.
We want you guys to be on the lookout for. Who did I let go first last time? It was Lauren. Lauren.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just was wondering if that X marks the spot is where that chocolate sauce is going to be flying. I don't know.
It's just a theme.
All right. So my first sleeper, do I do all 3 or are we going to alternate?
We can alternate. We got 3, so go ahead.
We got 3.
Get one.
For anyone who has followed any of my tweets, any of my work, you guys know I love Dante Moncrief. He is a huge sleeper pick for me, guys. Remember when I brought up all the information about Juju Smith-Schuster with the wide receiver 1, the wide receiver 2 situation, and how Juju Smith-Schuster does not create good separation downfield yet, like Antonio Brown used to? Well, guess who does? Dante Moncrief. Another thing he does also is he can score from anywhere on the field. His best year, I think, was 2015. I think he had 9 touchdowns. I think that was the total. His longest was only on a 25-yard toss. 25 yards. Everything else, I'm like literally crying. There's tears running down my face. Every other touchdown was from like 2 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, like all of that. So he can score from anywhere. He can line up from anywhere. Plus, he's a really good downfield threat that I like for Ben Roethlisberger. Speaking of Big Ben, he has got so much chemistry with Big Ben already from OTAs to training camp. I know that James Washington had a great preseason game. It's preseason, guys. Put your pants back on. It's not a big deal, okay? Relax. So I really like him, especially at his ADP where he's going and his ability to create separation downfield. And he's a veteran, stable influence on a very young, volatile locker room that they need. All the drama is now gone. There's one thing that the Steelers want more than anything. It's stability and like Mary J. Blige, singing in the background. No more drama. We don't want that anymore. So I like Dante Moncrief simply because of that on off field chemistry that he's bringing. And plus I think he's going, let me just make sure I got this right. Yeah, he's going at the end of the ninth round, and he's possibly following even more. That's in half PPR.
Yes, yeah,
so,
he's falling. Yeah,
I love Dante Moncrief, and I think he's only on a 1-year deal, I think, right? So this is like his last time to really prove a point that he is good, and he did it once under Andrew Luck, sort of. He could have done better, but since then he's been in the shadow, of everybody else with crappy quarterbacks. Maybe Blake Bortles. Pardon me while I throw up in my mouth a little bit. Cody Kessler. Blech.
Yeah.
This is his year. I'm a big fan of Dante Moncrief, and everyone was going after him in my fantasy footballers writers league. Thanks, guys. Even though they said it in the remarks, they're like, "Oh, I was going to take him just so Lauren couldn't have him." Like, it's the 5th round. What are you doing?
She's like, all right, I'm going to get him at like 8.
I am bitter. I know. I did. I was like, I'm going to reach for him at the 7th. Nope. Oh, so bad. I'm not bitter or anything.
I trust a lot of Steelers receivers. Ben gets the ball around quite a bit and can share that thing. And like you said, I think it's going to be good.
Well, James Washington has to have a better catch percentage than like 43%, which I'm not exaggerating. I'm pretty sure it was like a 43% catch rate. And Big Ben called him out last year. Like, you have to learn how to play football if I'm going to throw you the ball. Well, that's concerning. So,
right.
I don't know. So we'll see. I'm banking on Dante Moncrief. If I'm wrong, whatever. So what? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a wide receiver 2 up there to Juju, and if it is going to be anybody, it probably would be the veteran, just because he knows the game a lot more than those younger guys.
Right.
He knows how to get open. He knows how to beat corners, so on and so forth. So I like it. I like it. I don't completely disagree.
It's a spicy take, so if you disagree, that's totally okay. I have a lot of people that are like, Deontay Johnson's the thing. I'm like, they have never used a rookie heavily in their offense, ever. So it's not going to be him. Possibly James Washington, but I like Dante Moncrief more. Can you still see I'm like very into this?
Well, like I'm a believer in things happen like for a reason, right?
Me too.
And we were getting set up for our rookie interviews, right? When we were in LA.
Oh, geez.
And and I had like put in Deontay Johnson's like name wrong, which is ironic because my last name is Johnson. I put it in wrong, and yeah, like at that moment I was like, you know what? I don't know if he's like probably gonna, I think that was like the universe talking to me, like
right, a sign. I like it. I like
he
it.
May not be the, I look at it now and I'm like, you know what? That's why that happened.
Everything happens for a reason. I feel you. I like it.
And he was like my size as well. I was like, I don't know, like, yeah, he's super quiet too. Yeah, I was like, I don't know about this guy. So yeah, but who you want to go next, or should I?
Yeah, sure, I'll go next.
Go ahead.
So I like that we agreed that if we're wrong, it's whatever. Because my dude here, I mean, I had to at least throw somebody that we interviewed, right? Like
I knew that you're gonna do it.
As a sleeper, I had to throw somebody in there. So. Not that I'm saying he is a top 10 quarterback that you should take, but if you got deep leagues or want to stash him, I'm going Kyler Murray. I love it. I think he has a great year.
Ninth or like 14th round.
Again, I mean, I'm not looking at him as like, damn, I better just let him drop and get Kyler Murray. But like, absolutely, I would stash him.
Love it.
Not only did they do nothing but try and bring weapons in to help him out, draft them. I mean, how much have we talked about David Johnson right now? Like, dude is going to do work for him, whether that's opening the pass game, opening the play action game, which we all know how Kyler is in play action.
And Kingsbury.
Kingsbury. Yep, they already got it together.
To the running back. I love Kyler Murray.
He would have had a touchdown in his preseason opener if it was not for that flag. He would have been perfectly fine.
And again, he just looked comfortable. He looked comfortable, which was my biggest thing I wanted to see with him. And I think out of any of the rookie quarterbacks, he's going to have the most opportunity, obviously, to play. I mean, there's no competition. They lost Rosen for him. They didn't lose him. I mean, that was smart to just ship him out. But like,
yeah, I think the door hit him on his butt on the way out. So, yeah.
For sure. So I think Kyler is, again, one of those guys that I'm looking at least stashing, and I'm absolutely not going to hate when my quarterback's on a bye week and I'm like, hey, we're going to see what Kyler Murray's got this week. So
I'll pick him up to start him. I don't have any problem with that either.
Right.
I love Kyler Murray this year.
Look for him to have running chances too. Like, he's going to be one of those guys that ends up with 30, 40, possibly pushes 50 a couple games. Like, I mean,
and he's really good about living for another down. I love him. I absolutely love him this year.
Yes, and the playbook is built for him to be able to live for another down. One of the things that I want to point out is the ability to where Kingsbury with Kyler Murray can disguise what looks like it's going to be a bootleg or a quarterback run, and then turn it into an RPO. That when I saw Kyler just flick the ball out like that, I was like, bro, that's an RPO. Yeah. I was like that, and when we call play-by-plays, we have the TV on mute, so when we're saying that this is what it is, like we don't get to hear the announcers.
He's set up. He's set up.
Everything is set for him
in a good spot. So,
yeah.
Again, I love him. I love that pick.
Maybe, and honestly, this might be a little opposite of what we said. Maybe like the Cardinals, I don't see it being a crazy multiple win, any type of playoff push thing. But fantasy-wise, I like Kyler. I like him.
I'm with it.
There's a lot of pieces on that Cardinals offense I like. I like Kyler Murray, David Johnson, obviously. I love Christian Kirk. They played together in Texas A&M, and that was Christian Kirk's best season was with Kyler Murray. Lots of chemistry there.
They are going to, everything is put there for him to be able to succeed. That organization is going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Yes.
They're going to surprise a lot of people this year. I am going to dive into the tight end wasteland. Well, what was a tight end wasteland last year? This year, I think that there might be some tight ends that you can get at value. Okay. And this kind of goes along with the Juju take, with everything that we've been stating, before the Dante Moncrief take with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's Vance McDonald. Vance McDonald is going, listen, there's no Antonio Brown. There is no one there to complain about not being able to get the ball.
There's no Jesse James either.
And that's the next thing that I was about to say. There's no longer no Jesse James as well. This is pretty much a one tight end team unless they're going to bring someone out to put up in the two tight end spread. And I don't see the Pittsburgh is doing that because that's not Mike Tomlin's style. No. Vance McDonald. Let him fall to you. I like it. This is going to be his breakout year.
Agreed. 100%. 100% agreed. They may allow him to have like a water break or two and bring in Jalen Samuels to help out once or twice. Other than that, this is Vance McDonald's tight end show. That's what I think.
No, we will see him.
Ben loves his tight ends over the middle too. I'm sure he's going to make a couple good plays this year.
Vance ends as a top 5 tight end. I can see it. I can see it. He could end as a top 5 tight end.
I'm taking him in every draft I have the opportunity to do so. And so far, I've been successful in all 3 of them that I've drafted. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I do have him in Scotch Fishbowl as well. I'm taking all shares of Vance. You better do well, Vance McDonald, because I have you everywhere.
You're putting some hope in there. I like it.
Let's see. And you're next. Actually,
is it back to me? Speaking of tight ends, let's go ahead and keep rolling on that tight end train. I love Mark Andrews this year for the Baltimore Ravens. So I don't know if you guys, I love him. So he's actually been compared to the next Zach Ertz or George Kittle. And you read the tight end article and you can see the comparisons between the rookie years of Zach Ertz and George Kittle compared to what he did, Mark Andrews meaning, for the Baltimore Ravens and what he's projected to do moving forward. He is so incredibly hyper efficient. And Lamar Jackson really has to work on his passing game. Well, that's the thing. He has that ability. On 34 snaps, he had 68% catch rate, and he had 16.2 yards per carry on only 34% of the snaps. So they're going to get him more involved. And Ben Watson's gone, right? He was their tight end, and he's suspended. So, whatever. And what better way to help increase the confidence of Lamar Jackson in the passing game than to have that chemistry with Mark Andrews moving forward, just be able to kind of dump it right off, catch it, go to the house. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love Mark Andrews this year, and I think he's going to have a big breakout year in addition to Vance McDonald because I love both of them.
Okay. I like that. I mean, Lamar's got to find somebody to love and to target security blankets.
As long as it's just not too far away.
Right.
Yeah, a late round still. He's a late round.
Yeah, he's going. I think he's going between the 12th and the 14th round. Unless you're in a league where people know who he is, he may not even be going drafted. But if you're in a league among analysts or people that do a lot of research on this, they're going to know who he is, and he might go a little earlier. But in your home leagues and stuff, no one's going to know who that is.
people are gonna look at you like, did you just draft a Baltimore?
Mark Andrews,
like,
Hill?
Baltimore tight
That. Yeah.
I'll
You know Lamar
take the
Jackson
next
can't
one.
throw the ball, right? Oh
Right.
my God, you're stupid. Be like, yeah,
Right,
whatever.
right.
I'll be stupid all the way to the bank, lady.
Exactly.
I don't know who that was that I was just making fun of.
I love those
Apparently-
Lamar Jackson takes. It's like you're like for real, right? Like, you know, I love when people do that. I love it. It's great. It's great. Same thing when people make the Cam Newton takes too. And it's like, you know, Cam Newton's like won people leagues before, right? Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's like people have Cam Newton takes? What?
Not this year. Not at all.
I was gonna say what? That's
Not
weird.
this year. No. I'm talking like past though.
Like MVP.
Okay.
Yeah, MVP season. Yeah.
A couple years.
What you got, man?
So Lauren had mentioned him a little bit earlier, but he was already on the list, so I'm saying him because that's my dude. A lot of people are excited about him, but I'm going with Deshaun Jackson. I think he is fantastic coming back to Philly. I think Carson Wentz is absolutely going to need to blow the top off of defenses, and the name is Deshaun Jackson. Like, there was a point last year where even in Tampa Bay, we were kind of like, Deshaun Jackson's back? Like, what's up? And that's Jameis Winston throwing him the ball. So I think just coming back to Philly, he loves it there. He wanted to come back. He enjoys it. And having Jeffrey on the other side, who is almost the exact opposite. It's just big target, go up and get it. Deshaun is going to get as many go routes and double move routes as he wants. And Wentz is one of those guys that can throw that thing. He's going to get it to him. So
one, Deshaun is happy to be back in Philly.
Right.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, we were already looking at it last year, and that was Jameis throwing him the ball.
That's what I'm saying.
You have a much improved quarterback in Carson Wentz. If healthy, an MVP season potential winner.
Yes. And Deshaun Jackson also makes his quarterbacks better. Whenever quarterback, who team he's been on, the quarterback has actually done better in efficiency, pass completion, I think. Another really good thing I love about Deshaun Jackson, I have an article about this too for the fantasy footballers. It's called 3 Wide Receivers to Remember. Just keep your eye on these guys. And on comebacks and curl arounds, he was 77.1% successful to create separation. And then on 78.6% on comebacks. That's how fast and elusive he is still downfield. And there's no competition like he had in Tampa Bay where there was Mike Evans. This is going to be his feasting zone where he lives, and he is going to be able to make everyone else around him better. And this is one of those rare circumstances where he is good and awesome in fantasy, as well as being good and awesome for real football. I love Deshaun Jackson. Love him. I absolutely love that take.
I think he's going to be fun to watch again. So
absolutely,
I'm excited for it.
100%. Next one that I'm going to go is the homie Adrian Peterson.
Get off the Redskins.
Ooh, okay.
Hold on, hear me out with AP. And one, everyone was pissed off last year when I got him first off because I was like, I got him like ninth round.
Late.
Yeah. And everyone was like, you're drafting an old man. Like, what are you doing? Da, da, da. And then I started.
He's a robot.
Yes.
He's not a man.
I started putting together wins, and people were pissed. My friends weren't talking to me. You know,
whatever. That was a smart move on your part.
I
like it.
It was a great move, and I'm going to make the move again this year. If AP falls to you, no one's going to take him in your league. Like, let's face it, every single mock that I've done, I've been able to go ahead and just snag him at any given moment between the 9th and 10th round. And it's a safe steal.
I don't think a lot of people are taking him because of the backfield. You got a lot going on back there.
It's Adrian Peterson. That was the exact same talks that were happening last year. Guys got hurt. Oh, guys is probably going to get hurt again this year.
Oh,
he's already dealing with hamstring issues. We don't even know if he's going to play tonight.
So Thompson's just nothing. Love's not anything.
Chris Thompson is absolutely terrible. I can't stand Chris Thompson. I don't like any Florida Gator, to be honest.
You guys have 4 running backs right now. I agree that AP should win the job.
Bryce Love isn't getting any love right now, and we interviewed Bryce Love, and I want him to get some love, and it's not happening. It's going to be it's going to happen. The running backs will dwindle down throughout the weeks.
I'll let this be a sleeper because you are getting him in the 9th.
Obviously.
Fine.
Bro, and he's going to win you
I
games.
think that's a sleeper. I think that qualifies.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
See,
yeah.
the guest says it qualifies, therefore it qualifies. Now you be quiet.
I guess we
Thank
do
you,
need a moderator.
Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
You need a
We
moderator.
could definitely use that.
Because you and I, we be going at each other sometimes.
Yeah.
Am I next now?
Yes.
You
There
are.
we go. Yep.
My final sleeper. I don't know if this really qualifies as a sleeper. I don't know where he's going now in ADP. Sorry about that. I should have had that in my notes. D.D. Westbrook. I secretly am in love with the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Don't tell anyone because I might feel embarrassed. But
Nice.
I do. Well, hey, whatever.
Right.
His friends out of Duval.
Yeah, I love the Jags offense, and I think it's because the addition of Nick Foles and that marriage between him and DiFilippo that have me really excited about their opportunities for fantasy. And I did a whole article again. I keep doing this. I'm like, this article I wrote, it was so great. Let me talk about it right now. So I did do this article. That was a lot of work, and I felt like Alice from Alice in Wonderland falling down the rabbit hole of numbers. But I compared what the Eagles had done with Nick Foles, how different wide receivers and the tight ends had lined up, where they lined up, how productive they were in fantasy, what was going to happen. And then I did the same thing with the Vikings with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. How can we marry those two together in Jacksonville? And it was actually pretty interesting that Nelson Aguilar and D.D. Westbrook happen to be pretty similar in terms of where they line up, their snap counts, and their fantasy projections as well as past production. And you've got D.D. Westbrook, you've got Keelan Cole, all these names that I've already written out against, my case against Leonard Fournette. But they're, like I said, Nick Foles is just going to be dinking and dunking because that is what he's so good at doing. And he meaning D.D. Westbrook, is the one I want to have most out of all of them because of Nick Foles' comfort level with the position and the routes that D.D. will most likely be running. You could really have a piece of most of that offense. Maybe not so more, but there is one new tight end that I do like for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and his name is now eluding me because now I'm just keep thinking of D.D. Westbrook. I do like him. Yeah, what is his name? Why is it like totally drawing a blank right now?
We were just
Jags offense.
I know. Why is this like? Why do I feel dumb right now? Josh Oliver. Duh.
Yeah, I was about to say we just broke down this film. Like we were just looking at it.
That was a total brain fart right there. Yeah, but I like Josh Oliver a lot. He has some potential. It's just hard being a tight end and a rookie in the NFL. So I'm not like putting all of my eggs in that basket, but I do like D.D. Westbrook a lot because of his potential with Nick Foles and John DiFilippo. And you can get him pretty late still. Let me see if I can look it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. No, you can get DD pretty late. That whole offense, like with the receivers, I feel like the ball's going to get spread out some, and you could get any of those guys, like you mentioned, the Keelan Coles or whatever. If you don't get DD, of course these are going to be waiver wire picks throughout later in the season, but they're definitely a good offense to possibly look at in terms of fantasy football.
And again, we talked
he's
about
going in the 9th round in half PPR, 901.
901? Okay.
Yeah, and we've talked about how little they will be running the ball most likely. So, like, I just don't see Fournette getting a lot of carries, a.k.a.
He might get targets, but there's so many mouths to feed there, passing the ball.
Last year we were singing, the whole Kiki because of Kiki QT. Is this year going to be DD?
Oh, geez.
Getting touchdowns. It's going to be DD getting touchdowns.
Is that like, Kiki and DD?
I always remix songs.
Oh, man.
Kiki DD. And Juju. Kiki DD Juju.
Oh, my
Juju's
goodness.
guarantee up in there, though.
What do you got next, bro?
All right, my last one.
Yep.
I got to go with the Bears guy, right? Like we didn't just get on the show to not talk about the Bears at one point. So
yeah, I brought the Redskins. It's cool.
You've been on the Redskins. So I'm going David Montgomery. I know he's a rookie. We've talked about him a couple times, though.
Is he a sleeper, though? Is he really a sleeper?
Yeah.
Because he's a rookie. Is that?
I mean, how early are you willing to take this dude? Like, a lot of people don't know about him. Obviously, we got to know about him.
4th, 5th, 6th, yeah.
And he's not even technically the number one running back on the depth chart. Like, I'm just saying. So
Tariq Cohen, I mean.
That's where I'm going with it, is I think Cohen eventually doesn't lose the job, but just Montgomery does so much more. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run between tackles, and you don't need to Jordan Howard the situation where the defense knows you're running the ball.
Exactly.
Like that's how Jordan Howard had to run the ball. They know it's going to be a run. They can switch it up. Nagy is going to do some crazy things with that offense and with Montgomery, I think. And I mean, we found out first and foremost how hard of a worker he is. He doesn't go out. He doesn't want to go to any fun nights with the friends, with anything that he told us front and center, like, no, I'm here to work.
Every event that we were at, he was the first player to leave. And we were like, yo, I just saw David. Oh, now I don't see David.
No, he is there to strictly work, to put in the work, put in the time, put in the effort, everything like that. So I think he only does nothing but excel at his job, and Nagy figures that out. So
I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in terms of the playbook there,
right?
Just because David Montgomery can give you both looks in terms of pass catching and run between the tackles. So it makes it very, very hard for defenses to key on, and we've already seen this year after year when rookies come in, defenses aren't ready to game plan for them because they don't have enough film on them.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. I like the David Montgomery take.
He's running people over in training camps too. Nothing but seeing him run this Bears starting defense over. So.
All righty. And then whose turn is it next? I'm trying to remember.
I think you're up.
Yeah, it's mine. Yeah, that's right.
Wrap it up.
I'm going with the rookie as well. And I'm going with...
We're so lame. We interview these guys and we're like, they're going to be sleepers.
That's not lame. That is loyalty. There is nothing wrong with that.
There's a special place in our hearts.
Well, of course.
Yes.
See, and there's going to be a special place in your hearts for me now because you're kind of interviewing me. See, I like that.
And we're going to have you on the show throughout the season. It's all good. I expect that tweet
when DeAndre Hopkins scores.
Yep.
Oh my God. I can't. I just got over that. The giggles had left. Now they're back again. Thanks a lot.
But most certainly look for more collaborations, guys. And who knows? Maybe like we all get in like a league later on down the line or something. We don't know.
For sure.
It's gonna be bad.
I'm going with we're a day away, but I always gotta say the line when I say his name. It's Friday. We all got jobs.
Oh man.
We got some shit to do. We gotta talk about Deebo Samuel. I like it. That's my bite.
I like it.
Deebo Samuel had already shown us, what was it, about a 53-yard reception that he had caught in that first game or something crazy. It was a crazy catch. He has tremendous work ethic. It's already been talked about that he's going to be worked in to the offense. With Dante Pettis, everyone's trying to overhype him that he's going to be the wide receiver one, but let's face it, George Kittle is the clear wide receiver one in that offense.
I don't care what position he plays.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter where George Kittle plays. I like Dante Pettis a lot. I want him to succeed. But I think that Deebo Samuel is going to eat into a lot of that production just because he can get down the field so quick and take the top off the safety. Pinpoint accuracy. It's a lot to take in.
That offense has a lot to prove.
The offense has a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why not do it as a rookie? It's the time to prove yourself too,
It's going to be who has that chemistry with Jimmy Garoppolo too. I mean, I love Jimmy Garoppolo this year. Everyone is kind of cooled on him. Not only is he incredibly handsome, I think he's a talented quarterback as well. So it's going to be what kind of chemistry he has. Laugh all you want, DeAndre Hopkins. Really? You're going to give me a hard time? Please.
In the words of the most annoying Stephen A. Smith, "Porn saw Jimmy." That's what he called him today on First Take.
I saw that. He goes, "That's not an insult." I was like,
"It's a compliment." I'm like, "I know why you're saying it." Like,
yeah.
But dude,
say that today.
But yeah, so apparently that's his nickname now. But
that's interesting.
It's their whole 49ers thing is.
I bet your porn doesn't pop up when somebody Googles Jimmy Garoppolo, does it? No. Does for me. Fantastic.
Oh my God.
Who's the better person?
I am therefore way more popular among 15-year-old boys.
Dropping knowledge in here. Other things.
Oh my gosh. So that, but once again, and I don't even necessarily say that you got to go and draft Deebo. He may, be undrafted, then you get him on waivers. Maybe you make a mistake and you draft a guy. You're like, man, I should have never even taken that pick. Let me go ahead and just swap him out. This is a good guy that I think that you could feel confident with doing that at the end of your draft.
I feel like if he's not drafted in the first, 3 or 4 weeks, I feel like people will start seeing him climb that waiver wire and be like,
I'm going to be watching him. Because I know that.
Obviously, we're going to be watching him. He's definitely drafted in our league.
So now we're going to get into the top mailbag questions from fans. Let me go ahead and get up the Twitters, my inbox here.
The Twitters?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, let Twitters.
I see.
1 second here. Jake Roth already asked what our take on David Johnson was, and we just gave that earlier, so I'm not going to do that.
Dang, we're just slicing down questions without even trying to. Look at that.
I mean, what is your take on David Johnson and Joe Mixon? Let's go and answer. I mean, take David Johnson. Yeah, you take David Johnson in that scenario.
And you just leave Joe Mixon to the wayside.
Yep, exactly. I'm trying to find the question from Love Tracker 3. Everything is all out of whack right now. 1 second. Your take on N'Keal Harry.
I hope he's not hurt.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I like him. But again, this is a Bill Belichickian offense, so it's going to be incredibly hard to predict who is going to be getting the targets and when besides Julian Edelman. I think N'Keal Harry does have the chance to get that done and make it happen, and he's looked incredibly talented so far. But he can't be hurt. That would scare me. But I do like him. I would take him if it's late enough, just to stash him.
Yeah, if it's late, I think that he could be a guy that could truly emerge in that Patriots offense. This, by the way, this comes from a Patriots fan asking this.
Of course.
Oh, they suck then.
You know,
N'Keal who? Nah.
That's what I wanted to be like. But I mean, no. All in all,
it's hard in a Patriots offense to have faith in anybody in fantasy football. It's so
hard.
I
mean, even in Tom Brady, the last year or so, he's not that elite kind of quarterback that we have. I still like Julian Edelman. I have no problem with Julian Edelman. I'm going to take him at any single chance I get. I also like James White in PPR. He got 123 targets and 87 receptions last year, and he scored, I think, 2 more receiving touchdowns than he did rushing touchdowns. Yep. So in a PPR format, I'll take James White, no problem. You can usually get him around the 6th round. I'm totally happy with that. But other than that, it's not as clear. It's tough. But I do like N'Keal Harry, too. He's going late. Stash him. Why not?
So this comes from Courtney at Love Tractor 3. It's draft time. What do you think? Do you go running back, receiver, tight end, running back, receiver, or what is the best strategy? Do you feel?
What is your strategy?
What is your strategy?
Courtney, so here's the thing. It's going to depend on where you're drafting from, like what position that you're in. So let's say you're going to be drafting early. Let's say between the 1st and the 4th or 5th. Let's say 5th is still kind of getting towards those middle rounds. You're going to be wanting to go after that stud running back. Don't fool around. Get your stud running back. And then you're going to have to decide how you want your roster to look. Do you want to do like a 0 wide receiver strategy, which means you don't even look at any wide receivers until after the 5th or 6th round? So you're banking on getting later value wide receivers because technically wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 4 will score more points than the equivalent running back 3, running back 4. So you can get really good value from your wide receivers later, and you can fill up on a ton of stud running backs early. I have done that in a mock draft. Turned out pretty well. Actually turned out very well. My first wide receiver in the 6th round off the board was Tyler Lockett. It only got better after that. It was awesome. Okay. So if you're going to be drafting later, you may think about the opposite. So if you're going to be going towards 10, 11, 12, you may think about doing a 0 RB strategy, meaning you take those stud wide receivers early, maybe a tight end early, because you can get away with spending high draft capital on a high tight end, such as Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz, and George Kittle when you're using this strategy. And what you're doing is you're banking on those later rounds running backs being available, such as Latavius Murray, who has his own identity in the Saints offense. Again, James White that I brought up that you can get in the 6th. So Kenyon Drake is another one that you can take a look at. So depending on where you're at is how I would recommend that you do it. My favorite way to draft is called roster-based construction. I generally tend to throw value out the window after the 5th round, and I just take my guys when I want to take my guys. Yep. That's generally what I do. Before anyone else can take them from me, that is generally how I personally will draft. But there's different ways you can do it. I hope I answered your question and didn't just completely equivocate on you.
No, I think that was actually thorough. Me personally, what I try and do, I'm a hands down, and this is what we were talking about before we got on camera. you guys watch us and you guys drafting against us, you get to know all of our stuff and all of our strategies and how we think.
They already know.
I'm a running back first type of guy. I like to try and alternate, go running back receiver, and then after those first 2 picks, then it's going to be about whether I continue to go running back receiver, or whether or not, you know, like recently I went running back receiver and I saw, oh wait, I got a chance at one of the Holy Trinity. Let me go in and take Zach Ertz because Kittle and Kelsey are already gone. I'm not going to let that value pass me. So then I pass because sometimes a tight end, especially one of those 3, can outscore your wide receiver 1. So it's an okay, like I've seen so many articles about, is it a risk to take your tight end in the 3rd round, 2nd, 3rd round? This is the one year where if you're getting one of those 3, it's absolutely positively not.
Their tight ends are getting rare at this point, but
the gap between the tier 1 and tier everybody else is so incredibly disparaging that it can be, if you don't get like the top, like 3 to maybe 5, if you're lucky, stream the position. Why
exactly. Other than that, I think that's the only 2 that I had.
2 good ones.
Yeah, those are like the 2 good ones. Because
that's okay. I got a question on Periscope that asked me how many bicep curls I do before a Periscope live. I'm like, do I look swole or something? Like,
I'd be like, damn.
Like 120, like maybe give or take 10.
Checking me out.
I'm like, I do a whole lot. They're called these.
Yep, exactly.
Look at
That's what we're about to go
do. Oldies. Like, no, whatever. Those are the kind of questions I get. At least you get like good questions. I'm just kidding. I do have people that ask me really good questions, but I also get some really, really weird ones that don't make any sense.
Right. Yeah, sometimes
But that was a great one by Courtney. In fact, Courtney, if you go to my YouTube channel, like I'm promoting myself on your show. Thank you. So if you go to, don't Google this, Courtney, because it's all pornography. Go to youtube.com and then search Stepmom Lauren, and you'll find my channel there. I actually did a mock draft with 4 different strategies. And so you can watch those. There's in 2 separate videos. You can watch how those turned out and just kind of see the thought process behind those if you're interested in taking a look at those. Also, mock draft. Never be afraid to mock draft as many times as humanly possible.
Yes.
Always good to do that.
Mock and mock again. Like I say, mock all night.
Okay. That song was #1 on the Billboard charts when I was born. Not the mock all night, but you know, all night long one.
All night long.
That's how old I am. It's okay though.
So I actually do have one question, okay, before we sign off. How do you feel about the stack strategy?
I like the stack strategy as long as it's done correctly. So when you stack, make sure it's going to be a team that is prolific in whatever positions that you're stacking. Yep. So if you want to do, like, for example, the Kansas City Chiefs, high flying offense, super amount of points there between Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. If you have that stack, congratulations, you just won your league. Awesome. So, right. Or, you know what? You can put Travis Kelce in there. So it's one of those situations. Another one I don't mind at all is going to be Ben Roethlisberger, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep,
those are the kind of quarterback wide receiver stacks that I really like. There are other teams too where you can take a look at stacking, not necessarily a quarterback wide receiver. You can do wide receiver running back because they're not necessarily going to be eating into each other's points that much. What you really want to be careful of is the wide receiver tight end situation. Try to avoid those when you can. But I do like the stack, especially in PPR. For some reason, those seem to do exponentially better than standard. I think just obviously because of that extra point that you get per reception. But I don't mind a stack, but it has to be for the right team. If you're like putting Josh Allen together with Robert Foster, that's dumb.
No, right. No, it's not gonna work. Well, there we go.
No, and I think there's only a good 4 or 5 teams even that you can do that with. Right. So again, she said half of them. I mean, I would put Drew Brees and Michael Thomas together.
That's a perfect one. Yeah. Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen is another one that's right there on the edge that you can get points off of. Just don't expect that to be a week in and week out. But that's something that could work if you have the opportunity to stream that stack. If you have the ability to move those players around against the right defense.
Cool. Oh yeah. Well, other than that, we greatly appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was such a blast.
Oh yeah, you've been absolutely positively amazing.
You did well with the loosen up thing. Did well with the loosen up thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Loved
I try.
Yeah, we like
tell me more.
we like to have fun over here. But
Great,
we're gonna go ahead and sign out. You want to go ahead and start off, bro?
I guess okay. Straight up. Yo, cheers to me.
Cheers to you.
All the rum boys and girls, what it do?
Dilly dilly, we're out of here.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was super fun. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, of course, of course.